Hola, bienvenidos a multilinguals.com. Today we will discuss some direct object pronouns. So let's start. So, what are direct object pronouns? In order for us to understand them well, we need to separate them from the pronouns that we have already seen before. So, for example, do you remember pronombres personales? The personal pronouns or the subject pronouns are the ones that function as a subject of a sentence. So here you have the list of the first pronouns you usually learn in Spanish. Then we learn possessive pronouns. Do you remember those? Such as my dog, your dog, his, her dog, etc. So this is the chart for those pronouns that are also there. They are different and you don't have to confuse them. So, what is a direct object pronoun in English? A direct object pronoun in English is a word, it's a pronoun that tells you something about the verb. For example, she called me today. So the verb is call and it is in simple past form. So the question you can ask to find out what the direct object pronoun is who. So she called. Who? Who did she call? She called me. So the me would be the first direct object pronoun. Then we have I always tell you to be on time. Whom do I always tell? You. Then you would be the second direct object pronoun. Then we have why didn't you call him? Call who? Him. You can have him or her here, and it's the third direct object pronoun. Then we have us. Nobody told us about that. And then we have show them to the clients for they, show them to the clients. And also you plural. So we have I always tell you guys something. Also, we have a pronoun for it. I post it on Instagram. What do I post? It. I post it. So with it, we conclude with the 7 direct object pronouns in English. So this is easier in Spanish because we do not have 7, we just have 6. So what about it? How do we use it? We use the same pronoun that we're going to use for the third person singular, which is él, ella, usted. So the only problem that you're going to have is that you have to remember that there is no different pronoun, it's the same one. So this is the chart with the direct object pronouns or pronombres de objeto directo in Spanish. As you see here, we have separated them first by singular or plural and then according to the person, right? So for the first person singular, yo, the direct object pronoun is me. So you need to be careful with the pronunciation of this because generally we hear people saying me because it's spelled the same way as in English, right? But if you say me in Spanish, then we're going to think of a different pronoun, a possessive pronoun, which means my, like mi casa, my house, right? So when you see this, you need to say me, not me, just me. For the second person, tú or vos, the pronoun is te. Third person singular, he, she, and usted, that would be lo o la. Lo for he and usted, y la for she. Then going to the plural, the first person plural, nosotros, the pronoun is nos for both genders. Second person pronoun, ustedes, you guys, the pronoun would be los and las. Los for male, las for female, and for both genders, we're going to use los. Third person plural, the pronoun for they, that would be los, las, same thing as before with the gender. So how do we use these pronouns in a sentence? For example, say you need to say, she called me today. How would you say this in Spanish? So the verb called in the past, that would be llamó, llamó. So how would you say this in Spanish? That would be ella me llamó hoy or ella me llamó hoy. So me is the direct object pronoun. Who did she call? She called me. ¿A quién llamó ella? Me llamó a mí. So we need to pay attention of the position of the pronoun here. In English, we put the pronoun after the verb. She called me. In Spanish, it's the other way around. We're going to say me llamó. So the pronoun will be before the verb. So how would you say this in Spanish? I always tell you to be on time. How would you say that in Spanish? That would be siempre te digo que llegues a tiempo. Siempre te, because it's to you. Siempre te digo. And remember that we place it before the verb. How about this? Why didn't you call him? How would you say that in Spanish? So, call, as we saw before, would be llamar in Spanish or llamar. How would you say this in Spanish? ¿Por qué no lo llamaste? ¿Por qué no lo llamaste? With the lo for masculine before the verb. How about this? Nobody told us about that. So the verb told in the past is decir, dijo. Dijo is the past form of decir. How would you say this? That would be nadie nos dijo sobre eso. So how would you say this now? Show them to the clients. So in this case, this is a special form because in English, the sentence is not a normal sentence. It's in imperative form. So the imperative is when you give an order or an instruction. So the verb to show, that will be mostrar. So we're going to see how to do this in Spanish. How would you say this in Spanish? So you would say muestra, that is to show, and then on the same word, you're going to add the pronoun, the direct object pronoun. So show them, it's only one word in Spanish. Muéstralos a los clientes, to the clients. So this is going to happen whenever we use the imperative tense in Spanish. Muéstralos a los clientes. How about this? I always tell you guys. So tell is decir. How would you say this in Spanish? That would be siempre les digo. Number 7, we said that we do not have this for Spanish. So I posted on Instagram, we don't have a separate pronoun for it. So what do we do with this? Do you remember? We use the same pronoun that we use for he, she, and usted. So how would you say this in Spanish? So you have to remember that you're going to have to choose according to the word that you're using. If the word that you're using is female, you're going to have to use la. If it's male, you're going to have to use lo. So how would you say this? You would say lo publico en Instagram or la publico en Instagram. For example, if it is a text, because the word texto is masculine in Spanish, you would say lo publico en Instagram. Or if you were speaking about a post, you would say lo publico en Instagram. If you were speaking about a story or a picture, you would say la publico en Instagram. Because picture and story, foto and historia, are both female. So remember, this is the chart that you need to learn and try not to confuse them with the other pronouns that you already know.